There are many things that can sway someone's opinion on a game. A deal breaker for one person might be what makes the game great to another. Whether or not I enjoy a game typically boils down to 5 main sections: story, characters, combat, exploration or side stuff, and music. Not necessarily in that order. Without further ado, let's get into my thoughts on Adventure Time, Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage? When I was a kid, I had a bit of an Adventure Time phase. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, because I'm not sure what the general consensus is, but my Adventure Time phase predated the show being plot heavy and plot relevant. I watched it way more during the earlier seasons when it fell more into the kind of monster of the week sort of situation. That's a little bit of a digression, but either way, Adventure Time was one of those things that my parents really liked that I was into because it was popular enough that anytime I had a birthday or it was Christmas or whatever, I could get something Adventure Time related and would be happy. I had the do-it-yourself adventure journal. I had some of the comic books, and of course, I had Adventure Time, Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage? And yes, that is the title of the game. And I both kind of love and kind of hate how unnecessarily long it is. But yeah, like many of the games I've played the last couple months, it is a DS game that came out November 20th in 2012. I did see it on my shelf when I was returning Phantom Hourglass. And I thought to myself, yeah, I have to replay that game. So here we are. The story of this game truly can be encapsulated by just the title of it. Finn and Jake wake up one day only to find that their garbage has been stolen by none other than the Ice King himself. We cannot have that, so Finn and Jake set out on a valiant quest to get their garbage back. Jake is feeling pretty lazy and uninspired though, so he really only rides along in Finn's backpack, and we spend most of the game just playing as Finn. We start our journey in the grasslands, obviously, where we see a bunch of familiar faces like Donnie, Raggedy and Hot Dog Princess, the Housies, and even my goat Tree Trunks, who will bake you an apple pie if asked. Ice King kind of lingers around like a foul odor and gives us some terrible riddles that are meant to be clues to lead us to the forest dungeon, where he built a garbage princess out of our trash. And he insists that we're here to rescue it. The whole concept is very silly, and I really like the fact that Ice King acts like he's so clever and being such a menace to society, but Finn and Jake are both bro, can you just leave us alone please? Can you just give us our stuff back and just leave us alone? It's just a really cool and funny dichotomy. The cycle kind of rinses and repeats as we head to the other 3 areas: the Candy Kingdom, the Red Rock Pass, and the Ice Kingdom. Finn and Jake show up, they solve a few problems for the locals, solve a few badly written riddles made by the Ice King, enter a dungeon, find and rescue the Garbage Princess before heading to the next area. There honestly isn't really much depth to the game, but I love it in the fact that it is very simple. It's bright and colorful, and each area is filled with so many iconic characters. The dialogue is written in a way that I can hear the characters speaking in my head with it, even without there being much actual voice acting in the game. And I really was just fully immersed in the whole experience. The Ice Kingdom was the last area, and I do think it's the worst just because of the elaborate cave system that can get annoying to navigate. But I do really like getting to build the cloud girlfriend for the snowman, and I like how the game kind of incentivizes you at this point to go back to different areas. Obviously, the final boss is the Ice King, and once you defeat him, we get all of our garbage back. But then Lumpy Space Princess notices that one of the things in the trash is an ashtray that she handmade for Finn for his birthday. So she obviously crashes out and gets very upset because he threw her handmade ashtray into the garbage. And then she decides she's going to destroy the world, and Finn and Jake have to fly through this cosmic portal on Lady Rainicorn to defeat her. It's honestly a pretty wild turn of events that somehow just fits right into an Adventure Time episode because it's just random enough. And yeah, after they beat LSP, basically everything goes back to normal and life is good again in that typical feel good Adventure Time way. I do have to say that as mentioned, my favorite thing about this game is its story and how immersive and bite-sized it is. I don't think I had more than like maybe 5 hours logged to like beat the whole thing. So it does very much feel like I am walking through it, like I'm playing through an Adventure Time episode and getting to like be a part of the story. And like, it just really tickles me and I really, really enjoy it. As mentioned, there are a ton of Adventure Time characters that make an appearance in this game, like Princess Bubblegum, Marceline the Vampire Queen, Flame Princess, BMO, and Nepter, just to name like a couple of the many characters that show up. It's almost impressive how many they managed to cram into the game in such a short amount of time, but that's almost my favorite thing about it, is it really just adds to the world. Not every single character is like really, really important to the overall adventure, but we just happen to run into them on the way, and that makes the world feel really alive. My favorite example has to be like Starchy in the Candy Kingdom Graveyard, mainly because that episode of Adventure Time with the zombie candy people, it scared me so bad as a kid, but I watched it anyway because I just like really like Starchy and his like general vibe. I just think he's like kind of funny. I just like him. The game, I feel, plays into like a very like retro feeling kind of way. You have like this overworld that's filled with locations you can travel to that upon entering are like these side scrollers. And the overworld itself, I don't know if it's like the music or maybe the way like the random encounters just pop up. Something about it just reminds me like very strongly of The Legend of Zelda 1 and 2, which also just makes me feel very like nostalgic. I also do really like the platforming aspect of the game. And the fact that it is a little bit unforgiving in the sense that if you do fall, you respawn at the start of the room, regardless of how far into it you are. I think it adds a little extra level of difficulty into the game that I really enjoy because overall the game itself is pretty simple. The game also does a really great job of showcasing Jake's abilities with being able to take on like these different shapes. A lot of area and dungeon access stems from Jake getting like different ideas from residents of Ooo. And the fact that almost every single idea is given to Jake against his will also makes it incredibly funny because he still pulls through every time. Like, for example, Hot Dog Princess will tell him, Jake, what if you turned yourself into a bridge and I walked my little dog feet into your back? And then Jake's like, ew, bro, I don't want to do that. And then still every time we see a bridge, he's just like, all right, and he does it. And it's like kind of funny. I think that in giving Jake so many abilities, they also really make it rewarding to like want to go back and see what you can find once you can access different areas. Of course, most of the hidden items are just like level up stars or like new attacks for Finn. But even knowing that, I still had like a really good time kind of circling back every time I got a new ability just to see what I could see and like what I could find. And I did end up getting almost every level up star except one this way, so I had like a really good time doing so. And honestly, I think I do remember where the last level up star is, but I can't remember exactly where it is, and I don't want to have to look through every single like kind of staircase area, so I'm just like, you know, I'm good with having almost all of them. The gameplay mechanics themselves are pretty standard. It is your typical like side scroller platformer hack and slash, but I do really like the item system in the game. As you fight your way through various enemies, they drop different foods like pancakes, burgers, apples, and the like, and each like food they drop is also like area dependent. So like the apples, for example, you find like in the grassland when you defeat like the little worms and like the big like touch me or like hug me worm. Like, I can't remember what the line is exactly, but it's like this big worm that is like, hug me, or something like that, and it's like really funny. They all drop apples, and then like when you go to the Candy Kingdom, like when you defeat the zombies, they drop like donuts and stuff like that. So like all the food is like kind of area dependent. The interesting part is you can also acquire various condiments, which you can put on top of your food to enhance the healing abilities of them. Which allows for like a really cool like mix and match. I don't remember what the base food was, but I do remember I accidentally put bug milk on something, and I ate it when I was missing like a quarter of a heart because I thought the bug milk was going to just like render it basically useless. And it ended up healing like 12 points or something like that. So yeah, there's a lot of potential with just combining random stuff and just like seeing what sticks. Outside of the food items, there's also a lot of utility items that make your attacks or your move speed higher, give you like a further jump, kind of like stuff like that. I didn't really use many of these items throughout the game, just because I didn't really feel the need to with how easy it is, but I do like the sheer amount of like references they're able to make in that item menu. So yeah, I really do like the item system, and I think it adds like a fun little quirky mechanic to the game that like adds a little bit more interactiveness that makes it really fun. I did also want to talk briefly on the music in the game itself. And I do have to say that it is what I like to refer to as like a sneaky soundtrack or like a sleeper soundtrack. I don't think I'll remember many of the tunes in like a couple weeks, but when I was actually playing the game, I really enjoyed the soundtrack and it really enhanced the entire experience. I have to say my favorite soundtracks were the ones that played during all the different challenges, like the Cloud Piece Collection, for example. And also like the little jingle that plays whenever Finn and Jake succeed at anything. I think both tracks just like really fit in with the Adventure Time vibe while also really working as like game soundtracks and like adding to that like retro feel. So they both just like really stuck out to me. But yeah, if you were or are an Adventure Time fan and you enjoy a fun little bite-sized adventure in the wondrous land of Ooo, I 100% recommend checking out this game. It's very short and sweet, but it does manage to contain all the things that made Adventure Time special to me as a kid in a nice little package. So yeah, this has been my thoughts on Adventure Time. Hey Ice King, why'd you steal our garbage? Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.